My name is Lurenda van Breda from the UWC Nature Reserve Unit. Today I'll be talking about conservation awareness and how to get the green message into your classrooms. But what is conservation awareness? It is the process of influencing people's attitudes, emotions, knowledge, and behaviors about wildlife and natural places. This is done through the efforts of skilled educators and conservators who use a variety of techniques, methods, and assessments to reconnect people with the natural world. But let us first become aware of what's happening in our country before you, as teachers, start influencing perceptions in your future classrooms. South Africa has followed the international trend by adopting a national energy efficiency strategy. The strategy recognizes that South Africa's economy is energy intensive and has a significant environmental impact as a result of the reliance on coal reserves for its energy production and consequently contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. Our country generates 93% of its electricity from coal, and as a result, we are one of the 15 largest emitters of carbon dioxide worldwide. So although large companies have bigger carbon footprints, we should not think that as an individual, we do not have an impact. Did you know every time you switch on a light, drive a car, run water, or put out your garbage, you're making a decision that affects the environment? Natural resources like water, coal, oil, land, and fresh air will run out if we use them at a rate faster than they can replenish themselves. There are many indications that this is already happening. Each of us living day to day on this earth has a small carbon footprint, producing carbon emissions directly or indirectly, which combined has a long-term negative effect on the environment. Besides our country's large footprint as greenhouse gas emitters, South Africa is also getting close to drowning in its own waste. Only 10% of 108 million tons of trash generated every year enter recycling plants, and most of the country's 826 landfill sites are nearing critical capacity. To drastically alter South Africa's wasteful habits and encourage a circular economy, where materials are reused over and over again, government gazetted a new legislation that will have a big impact on businesses and consumers. Manufacturers, importers, and brand owners must take responsibility to ensure that much of their products are returned and recycled after being sold and used, according to the new National Waste Management Strategy 2020. All existing producers and importers of these products are required to register with the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment before April 2021. Our government has stepped up and done something for the environment by holding large organizations accountable. But who is holding us accountable when we waste our resources? So what can we as educators do to help? We can incorporate the green message in all our teachings and make it a way of life. Life sciences might not be everyone's future teaching subject, but that does not mean we cannot get an environmental message across. So how can we achieve this? By teaching learners about recycling and upcycling. What is the difference between the two? Recycling is the process of taking materials ready to be thrown away and converting them into reusable materials like durable plastic furniture. Upcycling is a fun way to reduce our garbage by repurposing the item into something useful. It is easy to upcycle with sites like Pinterest for ideas. Always ask yourself, how can I upcycle before I recycle? Another way of getting the green message in your classroom is through gardening initiatives. You might be lucky enough to be at a school that has large enough grounds to create a garden, but not all schools are that fortunate. This shouldn't discourage you from starting a gardening initiative. Upcycled vertical gardens are a fun way to get learners to appreciate and learn about nature. Some of you might be thinking you don't have a nursery to grow your plants, Not a problem. Upcycling comes to the rescue once again. Toilet roll holders make the perfect biodegradable plant pots for cuttings and seeds. When they're ready to be planted, the plant with the holder can go into the soil. Plastic bottles can be cut with drainage holes made at the bottom and used as pots to grow larger plants. Teaching learners the importance of plants through gardening becomes essential to nurture their love for nature. But why are plants so important? Besides the obvious answers of providing oxygen and food, trees also provide shade, and the wood from trees are used for building materials. But did you know that plants purify our groundwater as well? Less than 1% of the Earth's water is usable for humans to drink. With such a small amount of water available to us, water conservation becomes a concern in our daily lives, whether it's at home, work, or in schools. This is a wonderful visual to show how vegetation binds the soil and acts as a filtration system for groundwater. The more polluted our groundwater is, the more chemicals need to be added to make it safe for humans. Small steps towards water conservation make a big impact. Integrating the conservation efforts with an educational program for students make the campaign more effective. Wetlands are nature's natural groundwater filters. Besides purifying groundwater, these areas are covered in a diverse range of plants which attract birds, mammals, and insects to an area. This is a full functioning ecosystem, providing learners with a visual of what they learn in the classroom. When you interact with nature, you are more likely to want to protect it than just learning about it in theory. Whether you are influencing perceptions about nature to adults or children, doing so in a creative manner helps a lot. Within the conservation field, poaching of medicinal plants is a constant problem. Some reserves have gotten creative by speaking directly to the leaders of the traditional healers instead of directly to the community. This is because these leaders have more respect within the community and are likely to have more influence than the conservators. Some creatures in nature are surrounded by myths and superstition in various cultures across the world. The dragonfly is one of them. The dragonfly somehow got to be associated with the devil during the mid-century, and the bad myth surrounding it has continued to this day, and many people believe that dragonflies sting you or sew your eyes closed if you're a naughty child. These stories are deeply ingrained and get passed down generation to generation. It is up to us to help create awareness and understanding to ease people's fears. We take our sight for granted. The example shows a boy having to write a poem about nature. Roses are black, violets are black, everything is black. I can't see. Just because we lack one of our senses does not mean we cannot connect to nature. Being in nature can provide a full sensory experience to gain a greater understanding of a topic through touch, smell, hearing, taste, not only through sight. When you get your learners out into nature, whether it's a nearby park, nature reserve, or even school garden, get involved yourself. Show them how to lose their fears and become fascinated with nature and the environment. The University of the Western Cape has a nature reserve on its campus, right on your doorstep. It is a wonderful resource for teachers and students. This 34-hectare nature reserve has plenty of life, despite the animals being so elusive. It has all sorts of insects and arachnids for learners to learn about pollinators and their role in the environment. Various reptiles. Many think of snakes first, but many also forget that there are other types of reptiles too, all of which form an important part of the ecosystem. Amphibians also form an essential part of the ecosystem, especially in wetlands, and even act as an indicator to health of a water system. The 34-hectare Cape Flats Nature Reserve also has various mammals ranging from small rodents to the curious mongoose, shy grysbok, and elusive caracal. Various birds of prey are part of the top structure of our ecosystem. They form important lessons about natural rodent control and their essential part in nature. The Cape Flats Nature Reserve provides the perfect outdoor classroom, whether your lesson is about plants, animals, or the ecosystem as a whole. I hope that you have taken away some useful information from this and know that the Cape Flats Nature Reserve is there as a resource and that we are here to assist you and your future learners. Thank you.